Celis, JHS Cove, Skimp Pix, Box Float, Andreas Anderson, Vince Tremblay, 1, 2, 3, 4, Luke Wenzel, Riley Bergen, Isaiah Robeson, Kian Noble Bowles, Mr. Sean T. Fitz, Evan Foot, and Micah Carter. Thank you to all of my channel members. I could not do it without your help. And if you're interested in becoming a channel member, you get to watch all videos early. Whenever I upload a video, I set it to all channel members can view it, and then I schedule it for whenever the video will go live. But I only have one tier of pricing. It's just as a little show of support. I don't really have the capacity to promise any perks beyond that. Anyways, with that out of the way, let's hop into the games. So, we're right back here. This should look familiar. Now it might be a little bit hard to tell. Let me do this actually to make it a little bit easier. Because I made these games that I watched bold, but I don't think that was good enough. So the games that I watched this week are gonna be in blue, just so you can kind of tell a little bit easier which ones I actually watched. So I watched Cowboys, Eagles, Chiefs, Chargers, Niners, Seahawks, Titans, Broncos, Lions, Packers, Ravens, Bills, and Vikings, Bears. Now these two games here I only watched like maybe half of the games. I didn't watch the full games, but the rest of them I watched all the game. And you see, so I have the matchup there, and then my prediction on the right. I made a video about a week ago, a few days back, giving my predictions for week 1. And I'll do a video probably in 2 days. Yeah, usually I'd put it up the day before the first game of the week. For my predictions for next week, week 2, for those of you who are new. So, let's talk about it. Cowboys versus Eagles. Now, I predicted the Eagles to win this one, and they did. But this game was actually a lot closer than I thought it would be. Hold on, let me fix this. Sorry. This game was actually a lot closer than I thought it would be. Now, the Eagles and Chiefs games were obviously like earlier in the week, so some of the details I'm a little bit fuzzy on. Now, Jalen Carter gets ejected before the game even starts for spitting on Dak Prescott. Now, there's been some other stuff that's come out saying like Dak Prescott may have spit on him first or tried to spit on him first, to be honest. I didn't look into any of it. If I was a fan of either of these two teams, I perhaps would have cared a little bit more, but obviously these are two teams and fan bases that dislike each other. I actually thought that the Cowboys looked better than I thought they would coming into this matchup. The Eagles' offense, while obviously still good, did not impress me as some of the other offenses that I watched this week. That's not to say that they'll be bad or anything like that. Don't misconstrue my words. I'm just saying that I thought this was going to be a much bigger beatdown than it ended up being. The Philadelphia Eagles ended up winning this game 24-17. 34-20. No scores at all in the fourth quarter of this game. Dak Prescott had 21 completions on 34 attempts, 188 yards, 0 passing touchdowns. Didn't have a rushing touchdown either. 0 interceptions. And Jalen Hurts had 19 completions on 23 attempts, 152 yards, 0 passing touchdowns, but he had 2 rushing touchdowns, and no interceptions. Saquon had a bit of a quiet game for himself, 60 yards on 18 carries, only averaged 3.3, hit a touchdown as well. But overall, this was just sort of a weird game. There really were points where I thought the Cowboys were going to win, or I thought they looked like the better team. But then the Eagles would come back and they'd get their momentum back, or they'd score a touchdown, and it felt like the Cowboys just weren't able to sort of sustain a positive pace of play, and especially in that second half, they just sort of came out a little bit flat. Chiefs Chargers. So this is our Brazil game, and I got this one wrong because I thought that the Chiefs were going to win this game. Now this game, there's been some hot takes about this game coming out. People saying that Mahomes is washed, etc., etc. I don't think that is the case. That feels premature. But this Chiefs offense really does not look good. They might have the worst running back room in the entire NFL. Like, I'm not like super in depth on every single team's roster and depth chart, things of that nature. But I don't know, like watching, just watching their complete lack of run game, and also their wide receivers, especially right now with Rice out and Worthy hurt. Like it was basically Mahomes trying to force it to guys who weren't able to make plays. So I don't think that this game or this performance will be indicative of the rest of their season. Now, obviously, I think Rice doesn't come back until week 8 or 9. And when you're dealing with an injury, who knows how long that's going to take and how they're going to perform when they come back. But I do think the Chiefs should get better over the course of this season, but this is definitely not the way they wanted to start things off, and you could already see some frustrations mounting, and I don't think this, I think this is going to be a down year for them overall, but I don't think it's going to be like a disaster or anything like that. Now this Chargers team, they looked calm, they looked composed. Justin Herbert was really making plays. I feel like Justin Herbert and that Chargers offense could pretty much get whatever they want. They were getting big chunks of yards. Justin Herbert was getting done with his arm and with his legs. And they really played like a complete, very impressive game all around, in my opinion. So let's get into the stats. 27-21 is your final score in favor of the LA Chargers. Patrick Mahomes has 24 completions on 39 attempts, 258 yards, 1 touchdown, no picks. Justin Herbert, Patrick Mahomes also has a rushing touchdown. I forgot because that so rarely happens. Justin Herbert had 25 completions on 34 attempts, 318 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. I thought that he had a rushing touchdown as well, but he must have just gotten it close to one. Also, one thing that really bothered me in this game, the play calling. The second half of this game, fourth quarter, I think there was like 9 minutes or 8 minutes left on the clock, something like that. scores at this point. They needed a touchdown, a field goal, or 2 touchdowns to tie or win. I don't remember the exact circumstance. But they were down 2 scores, and they kept drawing up passes behind the line of scrimmage. That doesn't make any sense to me in that situation. And that happened in another game this week as well, that I'll talk about. But yeah, that was very frustrating to me. Okay, now we have a big chunk of games here that I was not able to watch this week. I'm going to make an effort to watch these teams I missed out on in the later weeks, but obviously the time zone difference. By the time that I wake up to go to work, most of these games are already over, being played at like 4 or 5 a.m. my time. So we'll run through a bit of these here before we get into Niners Seahawks. Buccaneers versus Falcons. I predicted the Buccaneers to win this one, and they did, but the Falcons put up a great performance here. Definitely going to be a team to watch. Michael Penix had a good game. Michael Penix, 27 completions on 42 attempts, 298 yards, 1 passing touchdown, 1 rushing touchdown, 0 interceptions. And Baker Mayfield, 17 completions on 32 attempts, 167 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Steelers, Jets, Aaron Rodgers against his former team, but not his original team, and Justin Fields against his former team, not his original team. I saw a couple Justin Fields highlights from this game, and I actually thought he looked impressive, which is going to come into focus later and talk about this Bears game. But I predicted the Steelers to win this game, and they did just eke out a win by 2 points, 34-32, which is funny because the betting line was 2.5 points in favor of the Steelers, and I bet a lot more people took the over than took the under on that there. Aaron Rodgers, 22 completions on 30 attempts, and his new portrait for this season is so ridiculous looking. 244 yards, 4 touchdowns, 0 picks. Justin Fields, 16 completions on 22 attempts, 218 yards, 1 passing touchdown, 2 rushing touchdowns, both for 1 yards, 0 interceptions, but overall a good game from both quarterbacks, good game from Fields, which is cool to see with him. First game with a new team, especially with sort of the slander he's got in his career, the ups and downs, mostly downs that he's had in his career. Dolphins versus Colts. I predicted the Colts to win this game, but I did not expect things to be this bad. This Dolphins team has regressed so hard in these last 2 years, it's actually crazy to look back at that high-powered offense they had not that long ago, where I felt like they could beat any team in the league any given day. And a couple years back, it felt like if the Dolphins got hot at the right time, they could go on a run. But nowadays, it doesn't feel like that at all. Tua Tagovailoa has regressed hard. He had a really, really bad interception from this game that I saw. And the Colts put an absolute smackdown with them, 33-8. Which is funny because Indianapolis Colts were only a 1.5 point favorite in this game. Tua Tagovailoa, 14 completions on 23 attempts, 114 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Daniel Jones, 22 completions on 29 attempts, 272 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions. Panthers, Jags. I picked the Jags here. I still need to watch the highlights from this game. I want to see if Travis Hunter got used much. I don't see. Let's see his stats from this game. Can I see him here? I don't know how I see his player stats on this website. Travis Hunter played both sides of the ball. Let's see. Heisman Trophy winner dress under second round pick in the NFL dress wearing different offense while playing both sides of the ball in season opener. Played 39 offensive snaps and caught 6 passes for 33 yards. Played 6 snaps on defense, where he worked as an outside cornerback in passing situations. That's interesting. They did end up playing on both sides of the ball, which is pretty cool. Jaguars beat the Panthers here 26-10. Bryce Young, 18 completions on 35 attempts, 154 yards. 1 touchdown, 2 picks. Trevor Lawrence, 19 for 31, 178 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Giants, Commanders. I predicted the Commanders to win this one, and they did, 21-6. Russell Wilson making his debut for the New York Giants. It's a pretty quiet game. 17 completions on 37 attempts for 168 yards. 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Jaden Daniels has 19 completions on 30 attempts, 233 yards, just the 1 passing touchdown, and 0 interceptions. This was the game that I really didn't know which way to go with predicting it. These are 2 teams I really don't pay that much attention to. And I ended up picking the Cardinals to win this just mainly because of Kyler Murray. And they do get the W here, 20-13. Kyler had 21 completions on 29 attempts, 163 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 picks. Spencer Rattler, 27 completions on 46 attempts, 214 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. And they finally did it. They barely did it, but they finally did it. I said, please, please, this is gonna be the year that the Bengals finally start the season not being below 500 through their first 4 games. They're finally gonna start the season off with a win. I almost picked the Browns here, and the Bengals almost let me down, but they get the win by 1 singular point, beating the Cleveland Browns 17-16. Joe Burrow, 14 completions on 23 attempts, 113 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 picks. Joe Flacco, 31 completions on 45 attempts, 290 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Now it says their Fant was their leading receiver for the Bengals. So what was going on with Jamar Chase in this game? Did he not play? Let's see. I just want to see his stats for this game. He had, 2 receptions on 5 targets or 26 yards. He was only targeted 5 times. I guess Joe Burrow didn't pass the ball that much. Still, that feels low. We had this nice big sea of green here. All these ones I got right. But then Drake May and the Patriots let me down. I thought they were going to beat the Raiders here. But Pete Carroll, his debut with his new team, gets the win in Foxborough with Geno Smith, 20-13. Geno Smith, 24 completions on 34 attempts, 362 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Drake May, 30 completions on 46 attempts, 287 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Okay, finally to a game I did watch, 49ers versus my Seattle Seahawks now. I saw all offseason people talking about, oh, the Seahawks team has improved, we're going to have like a top defense, but I knew better. The the Seahawks team would be anything different than what they have been, and the 49ers just absolutely whooped us. And mind you, this is a 49ers team with an injured Christian McCaffrey. He was playing, but he was not 100%, even though he carved us up. Missing a wide receiver 1 and missing a wide receiver 2. So this is probably the worst 49ers team on paper of like the entire 2020s. And we couldn't get a win, and Tariq Woolen looked worse than he did like his rookie year. Like, it looks like he's regressed, if anything. And it was just a brutal game. And Sam Darnold, I knew that Sam Darnold was fool's gold. Like, he was a product of an offensive line and coaching and coordination that was amazing. And we do not have an amazing offensive line. We have an unproven coach. We do not have a great offensive coordinator, and Sam Darnold did not look good in this game. And I am so frustrated that we signed him instead of just tanking and trying to get a top pick in this year's draft and grabbing like Arch Manning or somebody. But yeah, very frustrating loss. Brock Purdy had 26 completions on 35 attempts, 277 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Sam Darnold, 16 completions on 23 attempts, 150 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. This Tennessee Titans team really impressed me, and I picked the Broncos to win, and they did get the win in the end, but this was a very close game. The Broncos came out and basically completely controlled the fourth quarter, which is why they won this. But in the first half, the first 3 quarters, the Titans were hanging right with them. Cam Ward, I don't think he necessarily did anything that like wowed me. He didn't make any massive play that I can remember. Again, I only watched maybe 3/4 of this game or something like that. But he didn't look shaken, he didn't look rattled, he looked calm, collected, which is what you want. Because obviously this is a Titans team that had the first overall pick, so they were the worst team in the league last year. But he looked calm, he looked collected. I can't remember any huge mistakes that immediately come to mind, but I might have just forgot. But I thought he had a very promising debut, with Bo Nix and what's supposed to be a very good Broncos team. Yeah, but the Broncos end up winning this 20-12. Cam Ward, 12 completions on 28 attempts, 112 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. Bo Nix, 25 completions on 40 attempts, 176 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Lions, Packers. I picked the Packers here. I knew Micah Parsons was going to be a problem in this game. People have been trying to downplay how good he is, how much of an impact he's going to be for this Packers team. I said it in my prediction video. This Packers team, getting Micah Parsons, in my mind, has immediately elevated them into like dark horse Super Bowl contender. I don't think they're now a favorite for the Super Bowl. I still think that's very clearly like the Ravens, the Eagles, the Bills. I think the Chiefs are now maybe even a tier below that. The Lions are a tier below that. I think the Packers team, this Packers team with Micah Parsons, is maybe up there with like that Chiefs Lions tier. He was such an X factor in this game. He was pressuring Goff over and over. I think he got a sack or 2. I can't remember exactly. But you noticed him out there. He left his mark on the game, and he has raised the floor for this Packers team. I also was not impressed with the Lions pass rush. I thought that Jordan Love had way too much time and space to operate. I felt like he was never really pressured that much. Overall, the defense for the Lions just left a lot to be desired. Their offensive line left a lot to be desired. And I feel like the Lions are really going to be kicking themselves that they were not able to get the job done and get a ring over the last 2 seasons, because it feels like you're maybe kind of starting to come down the other side of that hill now. And things are not going to be as good going forward as they have been. And this Packers team, as a fan of an NFC team, it terrifies me. And the Packers and Seahawks specifically, there's a lot of dislike there. But as a football fan, this team impresses me. And their front office has done some really good work here, assembling a good squad. 27-13 in favor of the Packers. Jared Goff had 39 completions on 39 attempts, 225 yards, 1 touchdown, and his trademark 1 interception, which was a really bad interception. Jordan Love 16 for 22, 188 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 picks. Texans versus the Rams. I think I'm downgrading this Texans team a little bit. I picked the Rams to win this one, and they did win it. I thought this Texans team was going to be better than this, though. They looked really bad. And the Rams did win this game, but I feel like they weren't extremely impressive. It was just sort of too, I don't know the exact wording for it, but both the teams looked not amazing. They looked sort of mediocre-ish, but the Texans being more so. But this Texans team, again, feels like a team that missed the boat a little bit. But Stafford, obviously, he really impressed me. Puka really impressed me. I knew Puka was going to have a big year this year. He did not get a touchdown, but he got 130 yards on 10 receptions. I know he's just going to absolutely crush it this year. 14-9 in favor of the Rams. Stroud had 19 completions on 27 attempts, 188 yards, no touchdowns, 1 pick. Stafford, 21 completions on 29 attempts, 245 yards, 1 touchdown, no pick. Now let's talk about, I said this was going to be game of the week, and not only was this game of the week, this Ravens-Bills game might be game of the year, and it's already week 1, or it's only week 1, I should say. This was one of the craziest football games I've seen in a long, long time. Kind of remind me of the Nick Foles Eagles Super Bowl, that level of crazy, the comeback, everything. These might be the 2 best teams in the league this year, and they are duking it out in week 1, and it was so entertaining. I predicted the Bills here simply because of home field advantage, and they do get the win after an absolutely insane 22-point fourth quarter to win it by 1 point after a 32-yard field goal. This comeback. I saw the DeAndre Hopkins, the crazy DeAndre Hopkins touchdown, the one-handed touchdown pass. And then Josh Allen comes out, he gets the rushing touchdown for that. And you're okay, they're still in it. Then Derrick Henry breaks off a 50-yard touchdown. And in my mind at that moment, I was like, that just crushed the Bills' spirit. Derrick Henry just killed them. Then they come marching back, they get the comeback, they win by 1. It was so good. Coleman and Allen and the field goal. It was such an amazing game. I watched all 4 quarters of this game. I'm so glad I did. One of the best football games I've ever watched. And I saw some fans, I saw some Ravens fans, so upset. And, I can understand giving up that big of a comeback and feeling some sort of way about that. But these are potentially the 2 best teams in the league. And the Ravens, they put up 40 points on a Super Bowl caliber team. I don't think Ravens fans have anything to worry about. And their entire offense was basically three guys. It was Lamar and Derrick Henry running a lot of play action, like option plays and all that. And then Zay Flowers got a ton of yardage. How many yards did Zay Flowers have? Zay Flowers had 143 yards on 7 receptions. Like, Zay Flowers really, really impressed me. This game, I said that, I think in my predictions video, I said that I thought Puka might have the most receiving yards this season. But I think Zay Flowers might be up there. He really impressed me this game, and that this is against a really good Bills defense. This Ravens team, Zay Flowers could have multiple 100 plus, 150 receiving yard games this season. He really impressed me, and I don't think the Ravens should feel bad about this loss. Obviously, giving up the comeback, giving up 21 points in a quarter, that isn't great, but at the same time, it's a good team. This is an all-time game, and the only real issue I see with this Ravens team is the secondary didn't seem to be the best, especially out on the edges. It felt like the Bills had a lot of room to operate the receivers, but that's really the only thing that I think you maybe work on, be the secondary. But I didn't see any glaring issues with the Ravens in this game. Lamar Jackson had 14 completions on 19 attempts, 209 yards, 2 passing touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown, 0 interceptions. Josh Allen, 33 completions on 46 attempts, 2 passing touchdowns, 2 rushing touchdowns, and 0 interceptions. Crazy game. I also think that the Bills need to run the ball more. They only had their rushing yardage, especially when you look at the rushing yardage the Ravens got. That's one thing I think the Bills need more, a better run game. Okay, this game, I have a lot of thoughts about this game. I predicted the Bears to win this game. Man, I'm just saying right now, these are going to be a lot of hot takes. I'm probably going to get some flack for this, but I have a lot of hot takes about this game. So the first half of this game, I thought J.J. McCarthy looked absolutely terrible. They were barely letting him throw the ball. And then when they did let him throw the ball, there was a point where J.J. threw a pick six while in a clean pocket and not being pressured. Just one of the worst. You cannot throw that interception type plays. He had all day in that pocket and he threw a pick six. And I made a note that it does not look like he spent a year on the bench learning offense. So for reference, hold on. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see this. Wow, okay, hold on. I have to keep adjusting my phone brightness here. Here's all the notes I made just about this game. This is all just about this game. I said it's not look like JJ's been on the bench learning the offense. And then I said Caleb, he had a really impressive first quarter. I thought Caleb Williams in that first quarter, he was making a lot of really good passes. I think at one point, was it 7 or 14? I want to say it was probably 7 passes without throwing an interception. A lot of medium, intermediate length, short passes, stuff like that, but not turning the ball over, getting completions, all that. But I noticed early on, even in that first quarter where Caleb Williams did genuinely impress me, that he was not throwing to the middle of the field. And I said Caleb is struggling to see the middle of the field, and it's something that became even more apparent later in the game, because there was a point where DJ Moore was wide open for what would have been a touchdown, and Caleb didn't even look his way. He did not see him at all. And I felt like what happened is Caleb would step into the pocket and he would make his first read. But he was having trouble progressing beyond that first read, and it was just really sort of uncomfortable to watch. And it felt like as the game went on, their position sort of shifted. And I even made this note here coming out of I think into the second quarter or third quarter, is that JJ's starting to read the defense better now. 2 great touchdowns. He had one to Jefferson and then one to Jones. And as the game went on, JJ McCarthy kept looking better and better and more comfortable. And Caleb Williams started looking worse and worse and less comfortable. And DeAndre Swift looked to sort of be his pressure release valve. If he didn't know what to do, he tried to get the ball to Swift. But then they were running the ball with Swift. He wasn't really doing much. And as the game went on, I made this note. Caleb Williams might be the 6th best quarterback in his draft class. And that's the note I made. It said he cannot make progressions in the pocket past his first read. And that's brutal. And again, this is why. Because people, whenever I do my draft videos or talk about rookies, I get flack from people because people buy into these hype on rookies, especially QBs. Rookie QBs are such a gamble. And this is why I do not watch college football and I don't watch college sports. Because there could be guys who go in and they absolutely dominate the college game. But the minute they go pro and they're playing against the best in the world, they look average, mediocre, or sometimes bad. My problem with college sports, why do I want to watch people who aren't the best? There could be some teams where you could have a team go and win a national championship and only 3 guys on the roster make the NFL. And it's well, and the other team has 1 or 2, and it's well, why do I care? And it's things like this. You see all the hype coming into the draft, oh, he's gonna be this, this, this. Same thing with Lawrence, and then then what happens? Jane Daniels is no question better. Drake May is better. Michael Penix is probably better. JJ McCarthy was better. This game might end up being better. You just look at that QB group. Bo Nix is way better. The Bears could have picked any quarterback in that draft class, and they potentially picked the worst one for that first round, which is absolutely insane. That's my hot take. The Bears had the first overall pick. They could take any quarterback, and they picked the worst one. But I think I had a pretty good prediction this week. I only got 3 wrong, so it is 16 games. I got 13 out of 16. 4. Time to pull up my calculator. 13 divided by 16 is 81%. So far for the NFL season, I've predicted 81% of the games correct. Now this is probably the highest this number will ever be. So it's only downhill from here because I basically always finish the season at 500. Anyway, guys, thank you so very much for watching. I do hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed this week of football. Let me know how your favorite team performed and any of your hot takes or takeaways from week 1 of the NFL season. I think this is going to be a pretty exciting season. I'm definitely looking forward to watching next week and hopefully mixing up some of the teams we're able to watch and checking out some of those teams that I was not able to see this week. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more content just like this every single week. Until next time, guys. Bye bye.